podcast. I'm Solani Desai.
Hi, this is Prabhakar here.
Hello, I'm Yushen.
Hello, I'm Xinhee. This is our presentation for our final group project for data mining course. And our mission is to understand stability of a country based on various defined parameters. Our primary objective is to find the parameter that affects the fragile state index, and the second objective is to compare the defined parameters against each other. And then we make predictions on the behavior of the parameters. We use two data sets. First is 2012 data set, and 2013 data set includes countries and 12 attributes. This is the data we collect from website. We have 12 attributes here: fragile index, GDP nominal, GDP PPP, GDP per capita, life expectancy, population, health expenditure, military expenditure, natural resource, internet user, in freedom index, and unemployment rate. First, I perform the data merging and cleansing in Excel. I use VLOOKUP to merge the data together, and then we perform the replace missing value filter once the information was loaded to Weka to fill in any values left blank, and then we removed a certain instance with sparse data.
Here's how we measure the stability in terms of the fragile state index. We measure the state's vulnerability to conflict or collapse. The state measured take into account countries that are in the United Nations. So we do the following measures, which is the very high alert, and high alert, high warning, elevated warning, warning stable, more stable, very stable, sustainable, and very sustainable from the 110 until the 10. So we also measure the GDP PPP per capita, that is the gross domestic product converted into the international dollars using purchasing power parity rates and divided by the total population. The range of the GDP PPP per capita is from the extremely high, which is over 50,000, and to very high, and during that range, and high, medium, low, very low, extremely low, which is less than 2,000. And here is the concept we got. We do analyze several models to predict the best fit model to test our stability based on the selected parameters. So we selected the following parameters, which are the fragile index and GDP PPP per capita.
So for this project, we have used various models. The first model which I'm going to show you is where we have the target as fragile index, and we have used neural networks with which is multi-layer perceptron with 66% of training data, and we have got 47% accuracy of it. The data which we have taken was the 2012 data. The next model will be for the 2013 data, and here also the target is fragile state index. We have again used neural network, multi-layer perceptron, and we have used 55% of training data, and finally we have got 42% as the best accuracy. And finally the main model which we wanted to predict. So here we have given the 2012 data as the training data set and the 2013 data as the test data set, and the target is obviously the fragile state index. Here also we have used neural network multi-layer perceptron, and we have got 64% of accuracy. Next we will go to the next model where we are trying to predict GDP PPP per capita, and we have used decision tree J48 with 65% of training data, and we have got 61% as the accuracy. So this actually is for the 2012 data. For 2013 data, we have also trying to predict the GDP PPP per capita, and for that we have again used decision tree J48 with 65% of training data, and we have got the accuracy as 54.45455. And finally, this is the main one which we wanted to predict, where we have used 2012 data as the training set and 2013 data as our test set. So here we have got very high accuracy, which is 82%. We have used neural networks, multi-layer perceptron here.
To prove our primary objective of finding the parameter that affects the fragile state index, we decided to perform a decision tree. So as you can see, the first split here, our training percentages are, our first split is less than 8.475. So if you look at the training percentages there, the highest percentages are relative to elevated warning, high alert, and alert. And then if you look at greater than 8.475, you see that the percentages, the greatest training percentages are related to sustainable, very sustainable. At this point, we realized that freedom index was a good indicator of whether or not a country is stable or not. If the training percentages were higher for elevated warning, high alert, we can pretty much say that it's not a very stable country. However, if it's greater than 8.475 and then we see that the training percentages are more sustainable, we know that the country is more likely to be stable. And of internet users per 100 people. So if you look, it's less than 64.99. We determined that the greatest training percentages were related to the elevated alert, high warning. And whereas if you look at the greater than 64.99, you can see that the greatest training percentages were related to a more stable, or very stable. So at this point, we were able to determine that, the internet user per 100 people, whether or not if it was lower than 64, then it was more likely to be a less stable country. If it was greater than that, then it was more likely to be a more stable country. So really, overall, our analysis and conclusion, we have discovered that the two main contributing parameters to the fragile state index are freedom index and internet users. So we were able to ascertain that given a high freedom index and internet user, a country is more likely to be stable.
Okay, here's the visualization for our fragile state index and also the internet users per 100 capita. This is the trend for the different range, like very high alert is the dark red, and here the very sustainable is the dark green. And according to the decision trees, once the internet users is over larger than the 64.99, it tends to be stable. So it's clearly that the North America shows the figures around like 83 and 74.70 is almost stable and very sustainable. And the same rule to the 2013. North America still show the sustainable and very sustainable way with the internet users. And here's the fragile state index with the freedom index, the human freedom index. So according to the decision trees, once the human freedom index greater than 8.47, the fragile tends to be sustainable. So here North America is still high, is still like over 8.47, but some of the is 8.26, so that is more stable or stable status. And the same to the 2013.
During our project, we ran into some limitations when we were gathering data. So when we were gathering data, we incurred the limitations due to certain countries lacking just general public information. So we had missing data due to that. For example, North Korea was removed from our sample pool as no information could be obtained relating to our given parameters. Also, the data, another limitation was that the data could only be gathered for the countries that were in the United Nations. This is because based on our target variable, which is fragile index, only included United Nations members. So overall, you'll be able to see that we've we've done our different models and our conclusions for measuring stability of a country, and we ran into very few limitations, but we were able to figure out, based on our parameters, our objectives from the beginning.